All right, first Monday in the new shop. No one's here. I suspected at least someone would be here today, but normally we're closed on Mondays, so I guess we're closed here too. We haven't officially opened up yet, but it was completely pitch dark, and I couldn't figure out where the lights were, but the lights are all, I guess, right here, so we could just like kind of flip them all on and light up the whole store. I'll show you right now. As you can see, we're still putting stuff together, but this is what the store looks like so far. It's coming out really good. Like, I'm really impressed of how Tony and his crew put this all together. It's feeling definitely more like an upscale thrift shop. Lots of cool stuff for opening. I love what they did with this whole framed thing here. Cash wrap, I guess they call it in the retail business. We still have our windows all sealed up with our signs saying coming soon. There's some actually cool stuff in here if you guys are gonna come and you're local. There's some Disney backpacks. How much are these? 45 bucks. That's reasonable. These things are like $100 on eBay all day long. There's that doll I had forever. Some art. Yeah, it looks good. Now, I'm not exactly sure what time they're going to be opening or what day I should actually say, but things are shaping up really good. This is where the fitting rooms are going to be. Fitting rooms kind of got phased out during the whole illness thing that we went through in 2020, so it's cool to see those back. There's still like plenty of work that still needs to be done, but they're getting it really shaped up and it really looks great. So now we're heading up to the eBay office to see if anything has changed up here. Still a little dark. Got to turn on the lights. You might have saw this morning dropping off something. It was rainy at the post office and was saw a package from going out to someone particular. Yep, Raking Profit. He's been buying DVDs off me and actually the American Cancer Society for, I would say, about a year. We've probably sold him a few, but he's doing a lot of, I guess you'd call it online arbitrage, where he's buying DVDs that have a certain amount of profit and a certain amount of rank. And I've been looking up every DVD that he's bought, and I see his logic, and it's very interesting. He promotes a lot of that stuff on his Instagram channel and his YouTube channel. He was one of the original YouTubers talking about eBay and buying and selling and stuff. Photo room still worked on. So I'm trying to think like what today. I actually have it all planned out. I have to go check my notes, but I do believe today is going to be a little bit more of unpacking, shipping some of the stuff that we had today. The main goal today is to get the shipping stuff at least piled up to the side, get my rack boxes broken down and out of the photo room. So hopefully by the end of the day, I can have the photo room at least a little bit better, not fully set up, because there's still a lot of kind of planning on what I'm going to do, because I want to have a clothing rack section, or actually a clothing hanger, so I can take photos on the wall and have it properly lit up. I also have my sheet metal that needs to go up in there, and I use magnets, and we've talked about that before. If I can remember, I think I made a video about that, where if you can just buy one of those at Home Depot, you can just kind of like screw it into a wall or a big board, and then you could just use magnets to kind of hold posters up. So instead of like going on the floor and using like clear glasses or whatever to hold the corners down, you can actually take that steel board and use magnets to hold your posters up while you take photos, or any ephemera, paper things. I've even actually used that as a hanger, with a magnet hanger, to actually hang clothes on that thing and take photos too. So it's all inclusive. So yeah, still got some of Mason's art to get through at some point. We'll talk about that at some point. There's another one, pretty kind of like gruesome. I guess I can talk about it for a second. The lady's name is the last name's Mason, and I totally forget the first name, but we're gonna talk about that at some point. but she was a survivor of the Hiroshima blast in, I believe it was 1945 in Hiroshima, Japan. And so that really affected her whole life. She actually came to the United States and married an American serviceman, I want to say, or American businessman, someone in America, and she came over, and a lot of her imagery is like really, really dark because of, you know, what the hell she went through during that whole time. So we'll talk about that at some point. I'm glad it has a home. Anyways, a lot of this stuff needs to get gone through, and, you know, the workbenches, and then kind of like another little desk right here. I'm pretty sure when all is said and done, this is probably going to look a lot different once everything's kind of spread out and everything. So yeah, here we go. Anyways, I thought I'd give everyone an update. And so, yeah. All right, so we had pretty much a full day. I mean, it still looks like a shit show in here. Still trying to work out how everything is going to be laid out. It is getting darker here. Daylight savings time, or whatever the hell it is here, so it's going to get darker a lot sooner. And speaking of which, I saw that when I was driving here that the sign is up. So let's check this out. So yeah, that looks really nice. Can't wait for people to start shopping here. So I think I'm gonna pretty much wrap it up. Got a lot done, but doesn't seem like I got a lot done, which is crazy. One of the things is I started the video game testing unit, putting that together. Let me show you that. So that box pretty much has like 60% of all the video game systems that have ever been made, and they're eventually going to go here. And what I'll have is every video game system put here. The wires will be all together. It'll have a retractable power thing so that I can actually wheel it around and plug it in, and I'll be able to spin this around to plug in any of the games that I need. And I have actually a couple of cool little switchers at home for the vintage game, like for Nintendo, Sega, Genesis, and those PlayStation, that I can actually push a button and it'll toggle through the different ones. So this will be an entire video game rack, and I'll be able to test systems and games like just by swapping out parts really easily. So this is really exciting. The photography room is still a mess. I didn't quite get to breaking down these boxes today, which what I'll just use them. I'm not going to really break them down, but I'm going to cut them up. It's because I can use all these cardboard pieces for when we ship big frames. I could use those bottom parts, and all these little pieces of cardboard, they'll have to be just basically cut down to do it. Still have the table here, and I think what's going to happen is I'm either going to put the photography table here and have the clothing hanging thing here for clothing, and then have some other photography options on this side so that I can do it all that. But we'll put that in. I have all these shipping supplies too that need to go back into the shipping station, which is right here. So this all needs to get organized for shipping stuff, and this needs to be all organized. So eventually it'll just be really nice and organized in these two corners, and I can basically know exactly what size boxes I need and what I need to reorder and everything. And I did kind of set this table up today as my weighing station, I guess. I have like all kinds of different scales, bigger, larger ones that I'm going to put here. The workflow seems to be, you know, all the work here and then come and do this. And then, you know, this table will be a work table once I get all that stuff organized. All this moving dunnage will eventually be gone because I'll just use it. I used some of it today. And then we do the task of basically slowly getting things out of their boxes. For the most part, all the inventory things have been were labeled already. So those are pretty easy to deal with. You know, a lot of the odds and ends were kind of crazy to deal with. Those are starting to come out. And, you know, the DVDs boxes were pretty much all labeled anyways. I had a little bit of difficulty once these things are weighed down to kind of pull it out. So I might figure out another way. There's like plenty of room here once I get all this stuff out of here, that it'll probably just for now be spaced apart where I can just kind of squeeze in, grab a box, put it on the table, pick my thing and be done. But eventually, you know, it would be cool to have all these racks just basically stacked end on end and just basically pull them out as I need them. And it's been working so far. And as we could see, I need one little rolling rack for the clothing, but everything's looking pretty good. I mean, it looks like a mess right now, but it's this whole thing is shaping up. And this is probably one of the most exciting parts of the job, or I should say the exciting part of the move is having everything move and now organizing. You know, some people don't enjoy this part of the job. I really enjoy this part of the job. So yeah, so this is the first Monday moved in officially. And so I hope everyone is enjoying this vlog. If you are, definitely leave a comment below. Let me know if you have any suggestions or anything that you're seeing that's just seems out of place, or something that you would change, or some tips. Because I know like a lot of YouTubers from early on, they have amazing, crazy size warehouses and things like that. So if you have any tips, I'm definitely open to it. And if you see anything you like, definitely leave a comment, say hello, just to check to see if anyone's watching. And again, I'm Chris, and we'll check back in a few days. Bye.
What you know about rocking the wolf on your noggin? What you knowin' about wearing a bird box skin? I'm digging, I'm searching right through that luggage. One man's trash, that's another man's. Your granddad, we're donating that slap. Now I'm up in her.